wish you were here by my side. Your song in my ear, your hand on my thigh. The highway is clear, unlike my mind. I'm dreaming as I drive. I've been inside my own head for days, but this fantasy is keeping me awake. I wanna get lost in the night, stuck at a road stop, neither of us like. Eat till we drop, laugh till we cry. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost and miss the signs. I never liked adventure, but you changed my mind. Sleep with the stars, lose track of time. Tell me it's not too late to try. Tell me it's not too late. We could see the world, you and I. There's no place on this earth that isn't better with your hand in mine. It's taken me way too long to realize, and now I'm dreaming as I drive. I've been inside my own head for days, watching you kiss all my breath away. Getting tired of the twists and the turns we take, but at least this fantasy is keeping me awake. Yeah, I wanna get lost in the night, stuck in a small town nobody can find. Eat till we drop, laugh till we cry. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost and miss the signs. I never liked adventure, but you changed my mind. Sleep in your arms, make up for lost time. Tell me it's not too late to try. Tell me it's not too late. It's not too late. I know we made mistakes and messed up the navigation, but let's find another way then, because I want you in my life. Where do you wanna go? I promise we'll take it slow, get lost on all the back roads. Oh, just tell me we can try. In the night, stuck at a road stop, neither of us like. Till we drop, laugh till we cry. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost and miss the signs. I never liked adventure, but you changed my mind. Sleep with the stars, lose track of time. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost in the night, stuck at a road stop, neither of us like. Tell me it's not too late.
Love those runs. Oh yeah. A little road tripping music there for you. Affiliate 4, Miss the Signs. Hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Phantom NJ's TTRPG Theater. I am your host, Rob, Phantom NJ, and I welcome you to this session. I honestly didn't know, to be truthful, whether or not I was going to do something this evening, because, well, tomorrow I'm leaving on a trip, heading off to a week-long, week full of conventions, technically 2 separate conventions, though they're being held in the same place. They are Founders and Legends of D&D and GaryCon, and they're being held in Lake Geneva, basically one of the really birthplaces of D&D. It is where Gen Con was initially held, prior to it growing larger and moving. This will be my 3rd trip out there. It'll be my first. I think this is the first time that they're doing, Nerd Mecca, right? Exactly. Yeah, there's something to be said. I don't know about Nerd Mecca, but Grognard Mecca is probably a good way to put it, because the Grognard portion that's out there, because it's a lot of the old school players, a lot of newer players too, but it is definitely a convention where if you like the older versions of not just D&D, but if you like wargaming, if you like some of the older systems, it is the place to find the type of game that you want to play. They've got a little bit of everything there. So I can't wait. I really honestly have more packing to do. I've been doing laundry. In addition to working, I've been doing laundry and doing some packing all day. Lots of PC death. Yes, indeed. I'm pretty sure there will be. As a matter of fact, one of the games, there's multiple sessions of it. It's called Tower of Gygax. And we've been warned that, you can sign up for it. And I signed up for multiple sessions of it. This is during Founders and Legends. But they've also told people, listen, if you didn't get to sign up for it, just show up at the table, because as characters die, more people will be brought in. So it'll be kind of like I'm expecting basically a PC grinder type game where we just lose one character after another, and you survive as long as you can, and then you move on. So one of the things I did want to bring up, I was kind of, like I said, a little bit unsure whether I was going to do this stream, because I didn't want to talk specifically. Well, I mean, it was not that I was going to avoid the topic, but this wasn't meant to be specifically a Gary Con Founders and Legends discussion, as it was more convention going in general. I've been lucky enough over the last few years. And we've got an ad break. So during the ad break, I will mention the fact that for those of you who might be here and we are sponsored by Trollord Games. We have, Trollord Games are the makers of Castles and Crusades. They are the makers of Amazing Adventures, with a new printing that's coming out soon, hopefully. And, we've been lucky enough to be sponsored by them. I will get to see the Trollords this coming week. And, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm not sure if the bot tells me when they're back, so. The joys. I finally found the notification tell me that the ad break was coming. Don't know. I don't remember if there was a thing to tell me when the ad break was over. And of course, because of the fact that I'm streaming it, I don't see the ad, so that doesn't really help. Excellent. For what it's worth, all I did was talk about the fact that Trollord Games now sponsors this channel. We do have a giveaway going. Exclamation point ticket to enter for a $10 digital product, Trollord Games digital product coupon, which is good for any of the PDFs on their site, to put towards any of the PDFs on their site, any of the digital products. So, please enter. And we will draw a winner at the end of the stream. And right now, your odds of winning are really good if you enter. So I highly recommend it. So yeah, specifically, we're talking about, in terms of talking about going to conventions, there are things. I remember the first convention I ever went to was back in high school, and I don't know what it was specifically labeled at. I think it was technically a Star Trek convention. And the reason I say that is because James Doohan was a guest speaker, and the original Mr. Scott. Yeah, you're in, Chris. I got you. I guess it doesn't tell you that you've entered. Tells you when you try to enter too many times. It doesn't tell you when you try to enter. That's funny. I love bots. I really do. They're so awesome. There may be a bit of sarcasm there. But it was, something that I don't even remember how this ended up happening. It was me, a couple of my high school buddies. I think my buddy's father drove us. It was somewhere in New Jersey. Either in New Jersey, or it was either that or somewhere in Pennsylvania. I honestly don't even remember. This being some 35 years ago, might have even been longer than that. But it was, we were just there, and didn't know what we were doing. I mean, it was a thing where we found if something, we looked around. I had just started getting into comic books. A buddy of mine was one of my buddies was already heavily into comic books at the time. So we did a lot of looking around at the comic book stuff. I remember getting into one of they had a little role play session on Star Trek, based on a Star Trek scenario from one of the shows where we, took parts from one of the scripts. And, I got to do a little bit of playing as Mr. Spock. So that might have been my first, live action role playing, if you want to call it that. that might be a bit generous. It was kind of fun though. It was also a scene where I had to do my best to keep my emotions in check and not burst out laughing, because when it comes down to it, it's actually one of the funnier moments in Star Trek, where he's basically talking about logic and the fact that he can't lie, and twisting basically. It's damn near a gaslighting scene when I think about it. But yeah, we didn't have, we really didn't have an idea of what we were doing, other than the fact that we knew Jimmy Dune was, basically talking, and it was in a large room. There was plenty of room for basically everyone could have been there. Hey, Armin, good to see you. Thank you for the lurk. Much appreciated. So there wasn't much pressure, and honestly, I don't know that I went to another convention, of that type, basically, whether it be, a sci-fi convention, comic book convention, or anything of the like, until I did about close to 10 years ago. It might have been like 8 or 9 years ago. I did New York Comic Con. We didn't just do New York Comic Con. We did 4 days of New York Comic Con, all 4 days. And things I learned doing New York Comic Con was needing to have a plan. That was one of those things. We were kind of lucky because, again, I live in the New York area. We decided that we were going to actually stay in a hotel. I was right off a train line. So even though we lived locally and we technically could have commuted into the city each of the days, that just would have been a mess. So we decided to, get a hotel that was right on one of the train lines. It was like a half an hour train ride into the city, and they had a bus line. We didn't find this out until day 2, after doing a very, very long walk, that there was a bus line, that would take you right from New York Penn Station to the Jacob Javits Center, because otherwise that walk, it's a bit of a walk. It's doable, but it just seemed like it took forever to get there. And one of the things you find out quickly is if you're at a convention of any size, you're gonna do a lot of walking. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to see, and there's also a lot of people. That year they set a record for New York Comic Con. It was actually larger than San Diego, which was, had been basically the gold standard for Comic Cons in the US. Was basically the big name. That Saturday, there were 160,000 people, that went through the Javits Center, doors. And the Jacob Javits Center, it's a sizable place, but it is not at all one of the biggest convention centers you'll ever see. In terms of size, it's actually it's kind of small for a city the size of New York, and the kind of stuff that they should be able to host there. But we planned ahead of time, because my girlfriend and I went all 4 days, like I said, and there were things that we wanted to see. We knew it was going to be a huge event. We knew there was going to be a lot of people. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to get into the things that we wanted to do. So, we made sure that we, looked at the events list. We made sure that anything that was in the smaller rooms, we knew where we needed to be, because they didn't have, if I remember correctly at the time, they didn't have a system for them. I could be wrong about that, but I don't remember if we were able to sign up for things ahead of time. We might have been. Again, it was a long time ago. But even then, I say that only because I think for the larger rooms, even if, even with the being able to sign up ahead of time, there was just, long lines to get in. It took a while for the rooms to fill up, the rooms to empty and such. But yeah, there was a lot of planning and what we wanted to do, what we wanted to see. And even with that, it was exhausting. We went to 4 days, and by the end of the fourth day, by that Sunday, we had I think we decided to like skip 2 or 3 of the things that we wanted to see, 2 or 3 of the sessions that we had initially wanted to get into. And we just decided to do some walking around, dealing with the crowd at the vendor section, was kind of tight. And, we were done. By the end of the fourth day, we were just so very, very, very done. And like I said, I'm glad we planned, because if we hadn't planned it, I don't say it would have been a bad experience, but we would not nearly have gotten out of it what we could have. Fast forward, because it was a while before I went to another convention. It's 2 years ago now. This will be my third in a row that I went to my first GaryCon. And GaryCon is, when you go from something the size of, you go something the size of New York Comic Con to GaryCon, that's an entirely different world. Because GaryCon is it's an intimate conference, convention, I should say. There is maybe, I want to say somewhere in the area of like 5,500 total people between the different badge levels and the spectators allowed. I think that's all the convention is. It's pretty self-contained. It basically happens on 2 floors that are not, they're not overly huge. It's more elongated. And then there are kind of a couple of areas that are off of that section where there's some, there's some more like ballroom type scenarios that they use. But most of the stuff is really on 2 floors that is basically one long hallway. And most of it is on the second floor of the one long hallway. Hi, Taryn. Good to see you. Thank you for dropping in. I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry that I've been missing your shows, but it's been a week. Hasn't been easy to, get away from work to hang out this week. So, but I'm glad to have you with us. So yeah, it was a completely different world. And, there are things that I've learned. I also, not this past year, but the year before, I also did PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. There's another one where planning, I figured out quickly how long, how much planning is necessary really when going to PAX Unplugged, because I thought that con was a bit of a mess. It was hard to find. The maps really didn't make a hell of a lot of sense. Armin, I think it's somewhere in the area of 5,500. It may be as high as 6,000, but I'm not sure about that. And I'm just talking for GaryCon itself. I don't know about Founders and Legends is not nearly as large. I know that much. But GaryCon itself, I want to say it's somewhere around 5,500, because that might be about max capacity for the Grand Geneva. Yeah. I mean, it is real big. And so a lot of those, I think a good number of those are spectator badges, because if I remember something, there's like, and I may be really overestimating with the 5,500 now I think about it. I'm trying to remember how many silver badges there are. The silver, by far there is more silver badges available than anything. So I'm not entirely clear there. Hey, Dr. Squiggums, good to see you. I still need to watch the video from the Sunday to see the near TPK. And that's another thing. You know, I'm talking about PAX Unplugged. My PAX Unplugged experience, because of the fact that I didn't like the map. I didn't think the map made sense. I didn't like the way the vendor hall was set up. The vendor hall was like this one giant hall, and there was activities. It wasn't just purely a vendor hall. There was some of the activities were going on there. Some of the gaming was going on in the vendor hall. The map didn't make sense unless you like turned it upside down. The digital map was completely useless as far as I was concerned. And they didn't have anything marked. So if you wanted to figure out where something was in the vendor hall, you needed to look at your map, make sure that you had it so that everything was pointed in the right directions, and then look for the really big things on the vendor map and try to figure it out from there. So like if there was a really big presenter who was taking up, had a massive 6-10 table booth or whatever it was, you found them, you found their sign, and then you kind of like figured out from there where everything else was. I was lucky enough to meet up with a friend while I was down there. And the funny thing was the year before was the year that a lot of people that I knew were going to be down there. The year that I went, it turned out there was barely anybody I knew. There was only like 2 or 3 people. One I met briefly. I got to see Lord Gazumba there briefly. And one I didn't get to meet at all. And then one person I got to hang out with a bit. And if it wasn't for her and her friends, basically catching me as I was ready, really honestly, to walk back to the hotel, I completely would have missed out on some of the fun stuff we ended up doing. Because I was tired. The place was really big. It was not laid out well. I didn't like the maps. The weather left something to be desired. It was one of those things where it was too hot for a jacket and too cold not to wear one. And the humidity sucked, so I was kind of miserable. But, we did get to go and, see some shows, some stuff that was really cool. But yeah, it was one of those things where I decided not to do it again this past year. And honestly, I don't regret it. One common thing with going to conventions is the concept of con crud. And, we live in a COVID era, so there's always that difficulty. One of the things I've appreciated about GaryCon is while there are a lot of people who don't mask while there, good to see you, sir. MHCP Knucklehead. Let's go. Yes. I am leaving for Founders and Legends and GaryCon starting tomorrow, so it's going to be great. I am so hyped up. One thing, like I said, I appreciated about GaryCon was even though there was a lot of people who, especially this past one who weren't masking, if you did, no one gave you any issues. People were really, really chill about it. I admit I probably should have kept my mask on more than I did. Because one thing that you'll find if you go to conventions often enough is the propensity for getting sick just in general. You put that many people in an enclosed space, all breathing the same air, which, let's face it, hotels maybe, some hotels and such may have better ventilation than others, but this is more people than are normally at that particular location. They're in the hallways, they're grouped up everywhere. We're just getting out of winter. Depending on where you are, it may be full on winter, depending on where you're coming from. People are not feeling well, but they've got their trip and such. Do what you need to do to protect yourself. Bring the hand sanitizer. Bring a mask. I'm probably going to have a mask on more than I had before. Whatever. And I was one of those people who came home and I ended up with COVID after GaryCon last year. And I know a bunch of people who did get, a bunch of people who did. Strangely enough, like half the group that I got to hang out the most with, half of them got COVID, half of them didn't. I don't know for certain that I got it there because based on the timing of my symptoms, I'm half convinced that I got it on the airport on my way there. I'm not entirely sure that I got it while I was there. I know I didn't get it beforehand because, I for conventions, I go into full on hermit mode for like 2 weeks before I go to a convention like this. Cause last thing I want to be doing is getting COVID. Kill germs through excessive alcohol. That is a plan this year. I've been told that many people want to buy me drinks this year, so this is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time. So yeah, I mean, do what you need to do to protect yourself. Whatever it is, wash your hands constantly, use all the hand sanitizer, use a mask, do whatever you need to do. Drink the booze, get enough sleep. Okay, that one's going to be kind of impossible depending on where you are. And try to get rest whenever you can. By the way, I should mention, we do have a giveaway going. Exclamation point ticket, $10 Troll Games digital product giveaway. Basically, a $10 coupon towards any digital product in their web store. Armin, I don't know if you're familiar, but whatever you do, for the love of God, don't let anyone convince you to drink Malort. I don't know if you've heard of the legend, but yeah, it's one of those things where I was curious, and then I've heard more about it, and I'm like, nope. I'm too old to go and do something stupid like try to prove anything like that to anyone. I was like, yeah, I'll just drink the regular hard alcohol. I don't need, I don't need anything that basically sounds like a prank they play on tourists, honestly. So, there is that, in terms of, like I said, protecting yourself. The other thing, I think is important is, if you have, in terms of planning, one of the struggles I actually had this year, was figuring out what I wanted to do. Like for GaryCon, I'm running 3 games. I ran 3 games last year. The first time I went, I didn't run any games at all. I played in, I signed up for one scheduled game. I actually got into another, and then I also played a bit in, just an off the cuff game that was being run in a hallway. But I realized that, I wanted some time to spend with people. And it's amazing how quickly you can realize that there just aren't enough hours in the day. Dirty Dwarf, you mentioned how many people that you know. Yeah, I've estimated that I know some 60 people that are going to be there. Which, thank goodness for Founders and Legends, because only a small number of them are going to be at Founders and Legends. So I can get to spend some time with some of those people there. So I don't have to worry about trying to squeeze the rest of them into GaryCon. I've met about, I want to say about a half of them in person before, from previous trips or from other occasions. But that's a lot. There are a lot of people. And that I know, really, honestly, between the people from Troll Games that I know that are going to be there, that community, and then all the people I know, through Lord Gazumba and the various Greyhawk creatives and, the other streamers that I've grown to know over the years, people who are going to be there. It's a lot. Yeah. I to those of you volunteering, thank you very much. I don't have any further time. Ah, nice. Yes, I do remember that. I do remember being one of the games. I'm looking forward to having another one. The session, the sessions at GaryCon. That's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait. But I'm running 3 games, and I decided to do the 9 to 1 time slot, and I specifically asked for it because one, no, because Jeff, I didn't get into any of G's games. All of my games for Gary Con are at the same time as his, so I wasn't able to get into any of those. And I was on vacation for the Founders when Founders and Legends signups occurred. And while I could technically have tried to get into his game, the internet connection I had where I was not going to allow me to beat the mass horde that signed up for his games at Founders and Legends. So I'll probably drop by and see how it's going and maybe hang around. I don't think I have anything scheduled for his time slot. I did manage to get into Alan Growe's game at Founders and Legends. So I'm playing in the his Castle Greyhawk game. I'm doing some of the Tower Gygax. I did get into Stefan Pokorny's game. I believe that's at Gary Con, where I won't be in Jay's game, but I'll be playing in a game with Jay. Though it sounds like he may give his game up to one of the ladies that in his streams. Whether it be Coco Bunny or Little Bird or something. I'm not sure what he was talking about with that, or he may just be there and have them play the character while he's sitting there. I don't know. Well, we'll see how that goes. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. T-Cat, good to see you. Thank you for dropping in. It's really good to see you. I hope I'm doing well, getting ready to go to Founders and Legends and Gary Con starting tomorrow. I've got my noon trip. So it's going to be an amazing time. There's a fair share. I mean, you have to be careful because depending on where he is, you need to make sure that you leave room for people to get around. Now his game is always up against one of the walls, which most of the game, depending on what room normally those games are, they'll be up against the wall. But you still have to make sure that you're not blocking access to the other games, people getting in and out. Yam Dingbat, Mike, good to see you, sir. We do have a giveaway going, exclamation point ticket for a $10 product PDF from Trollord Games. You can, $10 towards any PDF in their web store. Stefan's game should be good. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it's one of those things where we're trying to figure out how to make time for all the people I want to see, and also mindful of the fact that I'm not that young anymore. I love hanging around with people, but it's gonna be being there for like, oh God, I'm going to be there from Friday through the following Monday. So, it's almost a full 10, not following Monday through the following Sunday. So it's going to be a full, 8 or 9 days or whatever it is. It's going to be exhausting. By the Sunday of GaryCon, I will just be about running on fumes. The last thing I'm doing, honestly, is I get to at least hang out with one person or a couple people that I know, because I've been playing in Wiley Hobbit's game on that Sunday, before I head back to, the Chicago airport. Yeah, I thought about it. I actually have the Monday off to recover. I decided that I wanted to get home on the Sunday so that Monday I could just basically not do a damn thing. Monday, the most I'm going to do is get home. I might remember to get up and eat something. And then until it's time for me to go pick up my dog from the boarding facility, I'm not doing a damn thing on Monday. I believe it. Dave, I actually got to play, speaking of games at GaryCon, one of the things I got to do, Dave ran an abbreviated version of Curse of Strahd, where it was basically directly us going after Strahd at the there was one brief interlude before we tried to take him on at the castle. And it was a game that we started, I think we started at like 8 o'clock at night, and there was like 12 of us playing. There was a lot of people. Anna B. Meyer was played in that game. It was a whole lot of people were playing that game. It was a lot of fun, but we didn't finish until 2 a.m. I think that's when we decided to call it quits. We were just about finished. We rolled some dice so he could decide what the ending was, and we paid for it the next day. Which, for those of us who did get sick, I'm sure the being exhausted, Jeff, I'm one of those people. I'm already trying to figure out, making sure that I have enough downtime. The Tuesday and Wednesday, there's some talk about people wanting to get together or play a game or two. And I think some of us are going out to dinner, the one night. But other than that, I honestly, maybe playing one game per day. I don't plan on doing much else other than possibly playing a game and going out to grab a bite to eat. I don't plan on doing a hell of a lot. It's because I know that come GaryCon, it's going to be once that Thursday hits and everybody's there and starting off at 9 o'clock in the morning, running that first session, it's going to be nonstop. It's going to be so on the go. It's going to be fantastic. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a time. But it's one of the things where, trying to plan for, what I'm going to do and making sure that any conventions you go to, make sure that you try to plan in some downtime. Excuse me. Make sure you plan in some downtime if you can, because, your body will tell you that you're going too far. You're doing too much. You're going to probably eat poorly at the con. Yeah. They've got some nice restaurants at the Grand Geneva. They're not cheap. That's for sure. So, if you're eating at the Grand and you're eating at one of the restaurants, you're going to pay for it. But, for me, thankfully I'm in a position, luckily, where, I can do that, because I don't know, I could not get away with just doing the con snacks. And I'll be honest, the food at GaryCon, the food that they have for table service and the side, yeah, Chop House will definitely cost you $120. $120 for dinner is actually pretty good at the Chop House. Because we go get a couple of bottles of wine, get a nice steak, get an appetizer, and then you've hit $120 easy. Oh my goodness, and that's before tip. I believe it. I believe it. You did $120 tip. You did really, really well. I have a problem where I don't have anyone to tell me no. It's one of those things where I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I can do this, and at the same time, I don't have anyone, no voice saying in my ear. It's like, well, you probably don't need to spend that much. But these are the things that you need to do. Not your one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to going out with dinner with some of the guys. I'm hoping, I'm willing to run. I've got the 3 planned sessions of CNC. I would love to run more CNC for others. I'm also happy to just play in everybody else's games in the hallways. One of the nice things about GaryCon is the fact that pickup games are definitely a thing. It's the one place where they are easy to find, because, they've got a whole bunch of tables. You just get enough of you, grab a table, as long as you're willing to play where other people are walking past and it could be a little loud, go for it. We did it multiple times. I ran, I got to run, in addition to playing in Dave's game, last year. I got to run a game for Wally Hobbit and a couple people from his channel. I did the Moat House from Village of Hamlet. Staying hydrated is very, very important. I will be drinking. That's the one thing I'm going to make sure that I'm doing is drinking a lot of water. I will have my cup for the Spotted Cow. So, one nice thing about doing enough hours, 12 hours of GMing is I do get the Spotted Cow cup so that, and I don't drink soda as a general rule anyway, so it will be all for beer. But I will be making sure to drink a lot of water. I am probably going to stop somewhere along the way because I am staying at the Grand. Stop along the way and pick up water. And Armin, pickup games, yeah, at GaryCon, they're fantastic. They're all over the place, and especially since you're gonna know people there. Just somebody eventually is going to have one going. They'll be there, and there's a couple others. There's one guy who runs a game that basically goes all weekend. And I believe it's AD&D 1E or 2E or whatever it is, and he just running the game all weekend, and you can just drop in, drop out as you need to. He's actually the Order of the Owl. Yeah, he's at the end of the hall. At the long end of the hall, there is a staircase, and at the top of the staircase, there's this one area by the staircase, just by the staircase where. He sets up and he's there all weekend, and it's really, really cool. I need to get in on some of that action this year if I can. But I'm looking forward to that. This did end up going into being a GaryCon discussion anyway, which is fine. I'm glad that there's so many of you going to be there. It's going to be really cool getting to meet a bunch of you for the first time and seeing others again, putting faces to names. It's been a real neat experience. Yes, I've got I'm bringing multiple sets of dice with me because I want to be ready in case somebody else doesn't have a set or whatever. Listen, there's nothing, Dirty Wolf, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm playing CNC. I'm playing some AD&D. I think there might be a Call of Cthulhu game going on somewhere that I'm going to get into. I'm not sure. There's been others talking about games. So, oh right, Shadow Dark with Dave. Yes, that's the one I was forgetting. So, definitely want to be doing that. But yeah, there's so much. It's like trying to figure out, making sure that I keep my plan in place where I'm hanging out with people, but I'm also playing the games, enjoying the games and such, and having a good time, and being mindful of not running myself absolutely 100% ragged. Though I know I probably will. Taking time to relax. I'm really glad that I am staying at the Grand so that it's a lot easier for me to go back to the room. I don't have to sit there and wait. I did stay at the Lodge last year, which was fine. It was really convenient. The trolley service between the two was, especially the day it snowed, it dumped snow on us on the Saturday night into Sunday, which made things interesting. I had a Sunday, or it was a Friday night into Saturday. It was Friday night into Saturday. It dumped like 8 or 9 inches of snow on us, which had half melted by the time like 2 or 3 o'clock came around. But it was bad enough that I think my half of the people that I had signed up for my Saturday game didn't show up. Was able to pull a few people in who were, basically their GM wasn't able to make it, or just didn't show up, or whatever the case may be. Armin, that's cool. That is, yeah, that is very cool. Getting to play in Carlos' game. I was not able to get into Carlos' game. That is one of the few regrets that I have, because I would love to play in a Carlos Slicing game. That's on my list of things that I want to do. Mike, good to see you. For those of you who just joined us, we do have a giveaway from Trollard Games. It is it's a $10 digital product coupon. Any $10 towards any PDF from their web store. Exclamation point ticket to enter. I was lucky enough, last year I had the thing at the Grand and I was not fast enough in processing the entire thing and I lost out on my spot. This year I was damned. I was all set to go through the thing as fast as possible, get my spot at the Grand. Oh man, that was like heart pounding. I was like hitting it. Okay, good. I got it. Dirty Warf, I think I asked you, but I don't know if I saw your answer. Which of my sessions are you in? I don't remember whether there's the Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I do have one other person who's already played in the campaign who is going to be in one of those sessions, which is cool. So you will not be the only person who already has a character in the campaign to join it. Yes, that I did know. Okay, yeah, do me a favor and let me know so I can make sure. Actually, you know something? There's so much to do, though. One of the things I do appreciate, even though Tabletop Events is given, has occasionally spit the bit in this. It is nice that you can pull up your schedule so that you know when you have things for the con and what your schedule looks like. All right. Awesome. First of all, yeah, STC. First of all, welcome. It is good to see you. We do have, okay, Diana. We have a giveaway going. Exclamation point ticket for a raffle for a $10 digital product coupon from the Trollard Games website, makers of Castles and Crusades and Amazing Adventures, of which I am a constant game runner. It's funny. I look at the as far as Milwaukee, and I wish I could fly into the airport in Milwaukee. Unfortunately, none of the airlines I like have a direct flight, so I go to Chicago. Still not a bad thing. One of these years, if Gary Con was a little later in the year and I didn't have to worry about the potential for snow, I might actually consider driving from here to Gary Con, and just having my car, because it's a short flight. It'd be about a 13-hour drive, which is, well within my 13 or 14-hour drive, which is well within my range. But because of the fact that, there is a potential for snow dropping on you, it would be a bit much. Nice. It's funny that you mentioned that. One nice thing about flying from New Jersey to Chicago for it is the fact that the flight is so short that I actually bumped up to business/first class for like a couple $100 total. It might have been like $250 more than it normally would have been for the round trip. And the thing is, with the first class ticket, I get both both 2 carry-on bags, which I'm going to use. So it ends up, when you cost in how much carry-on bags cost, it ends up almost paying for itself. It's not quite paying for itself, but it's close. That's yeah, I hope you're able to get those Z's. That's a wow. Oh boy. That's something. My goodness. I'm stoked that you're making the trip. That's going to be really, really cool. It'd be good to get the chance to meet you in person and run a game for you. So anywhere is 12 hours from New Zealand. Funny, I joke about the fact that for me, driving, everything is an hour from me. It's like anywhere that anybody else might be interested in is an hour away. Oh, that's cool. That makes life a lot easier. Fortunately, I don't know anybody in that area. This will be the 3rd time I've flown into Chicago Airport. I still have not been to the city of Chicago. The other thing about driving, I realize, is the fact that I would pretty much have to drive through Chicago. And I have heard enough nightmares about the greater Chicago area and having to try to drive through that area to last me a lifetime. They convinced me that I really probably don't want any part of having to deal with that. So that's the one nice thing about Chicago O'Hare is you're already past the airport. I did a drive to Michigan last year to visit some friends from one of the gaming communities I'm in. And we had somebody who was driving from the other direction and had to go to the Chicago area. And there was a lot of stress and tears involved because of that entire disaster of an area trying to drive through it. So yeah, I realize that is another, other than the possibility of snow, that's one more reason why I might say, nope, no thanks. I can, I'll skip this. Thank you very much. But yeah, the being able to see people is going to be ultra cool. I joke about the fact that Jay's games are all at the same time as mine. I was like, so I'm just going to have to TPK some of my parties early. If I hear things are going really well downstairs, and just we can go all down and watch the other game. Just kidding. I mean, I'm not above having a TPK, but this is the games that I've run for conventions are not the usual grinder games. They're not tournament style. See how long you can last. It is a straight up. They'll be straight up games because they are part of an ongoing campaign. The characters that you're playing will be part of the campaign going forward. And, those of you who are in my sessions, especially those who know, are more than welcome to revisit those characters at a later time. Yeah, Jeff, I listen, I know exactly what you mean. Getting to hang out with Dave from Guild Superior. And I know more of the Guild Superior crew is going to be out there this time than in previous times. I've seen, Dave 2 years in a row. Getting to meet Wally Hobbit was, Scott is very cool. And I know I'm going to see him again. I'm playing in his Sunday game and we'll be, be hanging out at some point. Hanging out with Jay is fantastic. And Jay, lives only 2 hours from me, which is kind of funny. I can say that I have seen Jay's basement, where all the gaming magic happens. But seeing people like Darling Creepshow, Little Bones and all that is going to be amazing. Talking to Anna Meyer is really, really cool. And Anna's got some of the best stories. She's even more impressive in person than she is on stream, and that's saying something. There's a lot of people though. So many. I get to meet some of the people who, Dirty Dwarf. I've met Mike, Greyhawk Mike. I got to meet Mike, and Mike, it was really cool to meet. So that's always awesome. I mean, just so many people. It's like, Curtis from J Streams. hanging out with Curtis. Curtis is playing in my Thursday morning game. There's a whole lot of people that are coming for the first time. It's going to be really wild. I'm looking forward to some of the shenanigans. I've been promised many drinks. We'll see how that goes. It's like, okay, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. All right. I am gonna get ready to bring this to a close. Yeah, Jeff, I am not touching the malwort. I've heard enough, and I have nothing to prove to anyone. It's like, I don't need to be drinking anything that can wreck my day. It doesn't help. You know, it wouldn't bother me so much, except for the fact that I love a good whiskey. But I normally need to do whiskey with the mixer, because straight whiskey will wreck my stomach long before it ever gets me drunk, which kind of sucks. I can sip it real slow. Hey, listen, you know, that you can definitely do that. Yeah, Melon is the opposite spot. I've heard all the stories. At first I thought it wasn't a real thing. That it took a while for me to find, to figure out if they were just like joking about the existence of it and what it was. And no, it's a real thing, and it's supposedly the most disgusting thing in the world. But yeah, it's one of those things where, and I mean, if you see any, always come up and say hi. Here, listen, we have a lot of people who are, love meeting new people, and GaryCon is the place to do it. Say hi if you come across me. I'm usually pretty easy to find. It's just I'm not the smallest guy in the world, to say the least. So, though I do plan on having a haircut before I get there, so that'll be about the only difference. You're going to bump into the same people continuously over and over again. But yeah, I looking forward to having some drinks at the bar. Looking forward to hanging out with people. It's gonna be a great time, and I'm can't wait to see all of you there. Those of you that are going to be there, and roll some dice together, get some food together, get some drinks together, just hang out, shoot the breeze, whatever the case may be. All right, so I'm going to get ready to close the giveaway. Again, exclamation point ticket. Your odds of winning right now are pretty darn good. There are excellent. All right. Hold on one second. Diana, no space between the exclamation point and the ticket. It is a $10 coupon for a Troller Games coupon for any digital product on their site. Thanks, Dave. I'm in kind of a festive mood. It's like I still have finishing laundry and packing, so just wanted to get this going before we go. Actually, let me do the drawing, and then we'll figure out who we're going to raid. I don't know who's on tonight. Is Jay actually doing anything tonight? I don't think so. There may not be anybody to raid tonight, now that I look at it. But we'll close the giveaway and draw a winner. All right, Dirty Dwarf, congratulations. Starts at 7 p.m. Yeah, as much as I would love to, Dave, I can't go that much longer. I still have stuff I need to do. Dirty Dwarf, I will get with you right after the thing, and send you. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight and hanging out with me a bit and doing some con chatting. It's been really, really cool. Let's see, who do we have? There are people, but not many that I know well. Who's on Goodman Games official? What are they doing? Do I know any of those people? Not really. Ah, you know something? Let's do Lantern Noir. Excellent. I do have a Hawaiian shirt. It's currently in the wash. Let's get the raid set up. And we will move to my stream ending. So once again, thank you everyone for coming out. It was really awesome to hang out with everybody this evening and have some talk about the ins and outs of going conventions, the things that I've learned, and then to talk about all the cool things that are going to be happening over the next week. For those of you who are going to be there at some point over the next week, whether at Founders, Legends, Gary Con, or both, I will see you then. Get your raid emotes ready, and we are raiding in 3, 2, 1.